Marvin Harrison Jr. Today, I'm asking a very simple question about the generational one. Are you in or are you out for 2026? Because through 2 NFL seasons, Marvin Harrison Jr. has become one of the most polarizing wide receivers in all of fantasy football. This was supposed to be the easy one, the generational one. He was the 4th overall pick, viewed as the cleanest wide receiver prospect we have seen in years. He walked into Arizona with a franchise quarterback, an immediate starting role, and virtually no threat to his opportunity. And yet 2 years into his career, I think most people would agree that we are still waiting. We've seen some moments. We've seen the size, the body control, the ability to win vertically. We've seen it in spurts, but we have not consistently seen the dominant, target-commanding receiver that people believed they were drafting when he came out of Ohio State a couple of years ago. His 2025 season was also difficult to evaluate normally. He dealt with concussion, appendicitis, and injuries to both feet. He finished with 41 catches for 608 yards and 4 touchdowns in 12 games, and several of those appearances were directly affected by injury. So today, we're going to go through 5 reasons to be in and 5 reasons to be out. Marvin Harrison Jr., 2026. The first reason to be in on Marvin 2026 is probably the biggest one. His open rate increased from 26.7% as a rookie to almost 40% open rate in year 2. He went from 127th out of 142 qualifying receivers to 71st out of 124. That is a large gap of improvement from a percentile standpoint, and this matters because the biggest criticism of Harrison's rookie season was not simply that the numbers were disappointing. The bigger concern was how difficult every single target he got appeared to be. There were too many isolation routes, too many static alignments, too many plays where Marv was expected to line up on the outside, beat the corner across from him, and make a difficult catch without much assistance from the offense. The Cardinals were treating him like a finished superstar, like Jamar Chase, like Justin Jefferson, before he had time to develop into one. The 2025 data tells us that part of the problem began to change. A 37.9% open rate is not elite. He's still ranked near the middle of the league, but moving from the bottom of the NFL to approximately the league average represents real progress. The rookie year criticism was legitimate. The second year improvement was also legitimate. Bull case number 2, Harrison's contested target rate dropped from 63.8% to 39.7%. As a rookie, he had the 5th highest contested rate amongst qualified receivers. In 2025, that fell to 53rd. That's a 39-point percentile improvement. And for contested target rate going down, that's a good thing. Harrison got open more frequently. And because he got open more frequently, fewer of the targets required him to make contested, incredibly difficult grabs. That is exactly what we should want to see. We know Harrison has the size to make those type of catches. He's got excellent body control, a large catch radius, and the ability to finish around the boundary. The third positive for Marv is that the improvement was not limited to charting. Harrison's yards per target increased from 7.6% to 8.2%. He moved from 79th amongst qualified receivers as a rookie to 38th in 2025. That's a 25-point percentile improvement. Once again, there is a clear sequence here. More separation, fewer contested targets, more production per opportunity. That is how player development is supposed to look. An 8.2 yard per target average does not prove that Harrison has arrived as an elite NFL wide receiver, but it does show and demonstrate that he was becoming more efficient before the injuries completely disrupted his season. That distinction matters. If his efficiency had remained flat while the open rate increased, we would have to question whether the additional separation was creating any meaningful production, but it did. Arizona received more yardage from each Harrison target in 2025 than it did during his rookie season. Bull case number 4, Harrison also maintained a valuable downfield role. His average depth of target was 12.8 yards, which ranked 16th amongst 124 qualified receivers. His rookie ADOT was 13.5 yards, which ranked 14th. So even as Harrison's separation improved, Arizona did not turn him into a short area possession wide receiver. 21% of his targeted route mix came on go routes, another 12% deep out routes. And if you've heard me talk about this at any point in time, hog routes, hitches, outs, goes, you need to be good at those. Approximately 1/3 of his work was vertical or towards the perimeter. Those are valuable opportunities for a wide receiver. Those routes generate explosive plays, touchdowns, and large chunks of yardage. Like, just think about it. Deep outs, go routes, you need those if you're going to pick up big yards. They also provided important context for Harrison's catch rate. A receiver working almost 13 yards downfield should not be expected to catch the same percentage of his targets as somebody operating near or at the line of scrimmage. The Arizona offense is now changing under Mike LaFleur. The Cardinals have discussed using more formations and pre-snap motion. LaFleur has compared Harrison's intended role to the role of Davante Adams played in his previous offense. That comparison does not guarantee that he's going to produce like Tay Adams, but it tells us Arizona is not giving up on Marv as being its primary boundary weapon. The valuable role remains available. The next challenge is converting that role into consistent production. Bull case number 5. As a rookie, 50% of Harrison's charted targets came against single high coverage. In 2025, that fell to 27%. This does not necessarily tell us what coverage Arizona faced on every route that Harrison ran. It tells us that a much smaller percentage of his charted targets came against single high looks. His target involvement changed substantially, and despite that change, his overall open rate still got better. Harrison was not simply benefiting from a larger collection of isolated outside matchups. He was receiving fewer single high target opportunities and still creating more separation overall. There are definitely still some issues with how efficiently he performed against each individual coverage shell, but the overall separation improvement remained meaningful. So that's the case for BNN. Separation improved, the targets became less contested, the efficiency increased, the downfield role remained intact, and Harrison improved his overall open rate despite a significant change in the coverage distribution of his targets. There was legitimate year 2 development underneath an injury-filled season, but the development was not complete. So now we got to talk about the other side of the coin, the things and the reasons why you might be a little skeptical and be out. Bear case number 1, the first concern is the catch rate. Harrison only caught 55.4% of his charted targets in 2025. That ranked 111th out of 124 qualified wide receivers. As a rookie, he ranked 133rd out of 142 qualified receivers. That gives us 2 consecutive seasons near the bottom of the qualifying pool. There are some explanations. His average target traveled nearly 13 yards downfield. Some of the quarterback play was inconsistent. Harrison was injured. Not all targets are created equally, but back-to-back seasons near the bottom cannot be dismissed entirely as circumstance. At some point, the receiver has to finish more plays. This is especially important because Harrison's physical profile was supposed to make him more forgiving for quarterbacks. A player with his size, catch radius should turn some of those inaccurate passes into completions. Through 2 seasons, that has not happened frequently enough. The separation was absolutely better. The contested target rate was lower. The catch rate still remained poor. That is the disconnect in the profile. Bear case number 2, Harrison's first read target rate fell from almost 88% to 79.7%. As a rookie, he ranked second in the entire qualifying sample. In 2025, he ranked 24th. That's an 18-point percentile decline. We should not overstate this. A 80% first read target rate is still extremely strong. Harrison remains a major part of Arizona's play design, but the offense became less singularly focused on forcing every target through him, and the other pass catchers gave Arizona great reason to distribute the football around. Trey McBride produced a record-setting 126 catches, 1,239 yards, and 11 touchdowns, and Michael Wilson finished with 78 catches for 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns in his own right. Those players, they're not going away here in 2026. The Cardinals don't need Harrison to command every first read for the offense to function. That can be healthy for the real-life offense. It can also be a problem for us in fantasy football. The Davante Adams comparisons, they do sound great, but Harrison's got to earn that type of treatment. It will not be handed to him simply because he was the 4th overall pick 3 years ago. Bear case number 3, although Harrison received fewer targets against single high coverage, his efficiency against two high also declined. He averaged 9.5 yards per target against two high as a rookie. That fell to 7.4 in 2025. He moved from 32nd to 58th. That represents a 24-point percentile decline. This is one of the strongest counterarguments to the separation improvement. Yes, Harrison got open more frequently overall, but when defenses played 2 safeties deep, the production went completely backwards. That could be connected to the routes he was asked to run. Too high coverage is naturally, it just removes more vertical opportunity when you got 2 safeties sitting on the back end. It can also reflect quarterback play, Harrison's health, or a combination of all 3. But elite wide receivers eventually have to solve too high coverages. Defenses are not suddenly going to start giving Harrison constant vertical isolation opportunities. If Harrison is going to become the player that people projected, he must develop more answers underneath, across the middle, and through the intermediate areas of the field. Bear case number 4, the other side of the coverage split was not especially encouraging either. Harrison only averaged 6 yards per target against single high coverage. That ranked 82nd out of 124 qualifying receivers. His percentile standing was essentially unchanged from his rookie season. That gives us a strong result. Against too high, his efficiency declined. Against single high, the efficiency remained poor. His overall yards per target absolutely improved, but neither of the primary coverage splits provides a dominant signal by itself. When an offense gets a big-bodied vertical receiver against a single high defense, that should create opportunities to attack. Harrison's route tree is built for those opportunities. He simply did not make defenses pay enough. Bear case number 5, Harrison's fourth quarter target share was 21.6%. That ranked 103rd amongst qualified wide receivers. As a rookie, he was 107th. That is 2 consecutive seasons of bottom quartile fourth quarter involvement. This does not mean Harrison has never made an important play in the fourth. It means Arizona has not consistently treated him as the automatic answer when games tighten, when the script portion of the offense disappears. There are plenty of wide receivers who collect targets during the planned portion of the game, but true alpha receivers, like the top dog guys, tend to become even more important when the quarterback simply needs somebody to make a play. Trey McBride has frequently been that player for Arizona. During Harrison's absence, Michael Wilson demonstrated that he could also occupy that role. Harrison has not consistently established himself as that player so far throughout his career. Now, the team context. The Cardinals are introducing a new offense. That is both the best argument for and one of the largest variables in this projection. Mike LaFleur plans to use more formations, more pre-snap motion, and that could directly address some of the static releases that hurt Harrison during the beginning of his career. Harrison is healthy, again after an injury-filled season. Arizona has also added offensive line pieces, including Isaac Seumalo and Elijah Wilkerson. But the line still has to develop cohesion. The quarterback situation is also Jacoby Brissett. Kyler Murray is no longer on the roster. Minshew, they drafted Carson Beck in the 3rd round out of Miami, and those guys enter as the primary backup options. So this is not an automatic upgrade for the entirety of the season. A new offensive system might create easier releases, better route combinations, but the overall passing environment could remain extremely volatile. And let's not forget, Arizona passed at a top 10 rate over the last decade. I'm not banking on that to happen again. My final answer on Marvin Harrison Jr., am I in or out on him in 2026? This is one where I am cautiously still in, but I'm not in because he was the 4th overall pick. I'm not in because his last name is Harrison. I'm not in because the coach compared his role to Davante Adams. I'm kind of in because the most concerning part about his rookie profile actually got better. He created more separation. He received fewer contested targets. He produced more yards per opportunity without sacrificing the valuable downfield role. Those are meaningful developments. The bear case remains absolutely real. The catch rate is poor. The quarterback situation is what it is. Trey McBride and Michael Wilson are major pieces of this offense. Harrison's coverage splits and late game involvement are not what I would expect from a truly elite receiver. But the profile does not look broken. It looks unfinished. And Marvin Harrison Jr., my expectation is he's not an elite receiver, but he can be a pretty damn good receiver in the NFL. If the offense can manufacture cleaner releases for him while maintaining that vertical usage, Harrison has a legitimate path to producing the breakout season that people have been waiting for. I'm in on the player. I'm not yet in on paying an unquestioned superstar price for Marvin Harrison Jr. So my question to you, are you in or out Marvin Harrison Jr. in 2026? Let me know below in the comments. I appreciate you tapping in for this video. Hit the thumbs up button, like, subscribe to the channel. Check out the other pieces here, in or out, that I'll be dropping on the channel. A lot of content coming this football season. I appreciate y'all. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.